First at 4, the city of Indianapolis on pace for our deadliest year in history. The new effort announced today to promote peace in the streets and stop the violence.
Police departments across the state are putting a bigger focus on reckless driving. How they plan to use federal funding for new enforcements.
And now that we've warmed up, the question is, how long do we stay mild? I have those details in your forecast.
New developments in the aftermath of the tragic mass shooting at an Indy FedEx facility. Why families of the victims are now seeking compensation from the city.
From Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 First at 4.
When are we as a community going to say enough is enough?
A new effort to promote peace throughout the Circle City. Today, faith leaders and community groups kicked off a new campaign to stop this violence.
Today's announcement comes at the same time the city is approaching its all-time homicide record. This new push for peace is our top story first at 4. Good afternoon. I'm Daniel Miller.
And I'm Birchelle Edmay. Fox 59's Jesse Wells explains why city leaders now plan to put this new effort in place in hopes of keeping peace in the community.
The event today unveiled a simple slogan, which they printed on these signs: peace in the streets, stop the violence. The goal is to get everyone across the city on board with that message and try to save lives.
We want to see this sign and message plastered all over our city.
Standing at the pulpit, surrounded by dozens of community and faith leaders holding the same sign, Aaron Williams unveiled a citywide marketing campaign he hopes people embrace.
We want you to think peace. We want you to talk peace. We want you to demonstrate peace. And most importantly, we want you to live peacefully.
Before that rally, the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance of Greater Indianapolis invited everyone from prosecutor to IMPD and the state police superintendent to breakfast, where everyone fully endorsed the call for peace.
I only hope and pray that the citizens of this city will back us as well and be all about this.
I want to have these conversations. I want to help along the way. I want to stand with Chief Taylor and the IMPD.
The rally coincides with Indianapolis nearing a deadly record. With 6.5 weeks left in the year, the city has already seen at least 243 homicides, just too shy of tying the all-time record set just last year.
What this group is trying to do, what we're trying to do is, through this slogan, is to raise the level of conscience.
Still, the group knows that preventing the daily shootings and killings will require connecting their message of peace with the city's youth.
The problem of violence in our city is an under 40 problem. If you're not holding conversations with specifically black men under 40 in this city, you're not going to fix this problem.
Finally, leaders here admit that a lot of groups across Indianapolis are working hard individually to combat violence, but those groups have not always worked well together. The goal now is to promote unity and collaboration. Jesse Wells, Fox 59 News.
New information on the mass shooting at a FedEx facility earlier this year. As first reported by the Indy Star, several members of the Sikh community were injured or lost family members, are seeking compensation from the city over the failure to file a red flag case against the shooter. The Indy Star reports a letter from the victims' lawyers to city attorneys shows 3 people are each requesting $700,000 in damages from the city. Lawyers representing the victims accuse IMPD and the Marion County Prosecutor's Office of violating requirement in Indiana's red flag law when they decided not to file a case with the courts to suspend Brandon Hull's gun rights in March 2020. The letter serves as a tort claim notice, which is the first step toward a formal lawsuit. We'll continue to follow this and bring you any updates. In the meantime, you can find our past reports on Indiana's red flag law, as well as a sit-down interview with Brandon Hull's mother. You can find all of that information online at fox59.com.
All right, let's check in now with the Weather Authority. We are warming up here in central Indiana. Temperatures back in the mid-50s this afternoon.
You can see the sun shining bright over downtown Indianapolis. Meteorologist Tucker Antico is here tracking our Tuesday night forecast.
And yeah, a significant warm up, much warmer by far compared to where we were at this time yesterday. In fact, We are about 19 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. A lot of that thanks to the wind out of the south we've been talking about, and of course having the sun outside makes a big difference too. And as you can see across the state, while there have been some thin clouds in the sky, it has been a dominantly sunny day, and even though there are still some thin clouds out there, you're still getting a lot of sun that is reaching the ground and warming us up. If we look to the north and west, though, much more cloud cover, and that is going to be moving in tonight, where we're going to see our pre-change begin to take place. Clouds moving in and even some showers, too, before temperatures drop later in the week. But for now, enjoy the mild weather. Wind still out of the southeast at about 10 miles per hour, a little bit breezier in some spots, and it will actually continue to get windier tonight. And the temperatures, check this out, in the 60s in Terre Haute and Bloomington. Downtown, we're in the mid-50s, and farther north, we're in the low to mid-50s. But again, that's that warm air continuing to rise out of the south as a warm front begins to make its way into the state. As far as the rest of your evening goes, once again, it's going to be mild. Temperatures are likely to stay in the 50s. Pretty significant for this time of year, given our average high is in the lower 50s. But enjoy the mild weather tonight. I'll talk about those changes, including those showers, in your full forecast coming up in a few minutes.
New information, police departments around the state are splitting millions of dollars in federal funding to prevent reckless driving.
Fox 59's Courtney Spinelli spoke with several agencies about how they're going to use that funding and why it's needed.
The numbers are pretty staggering and pretty sobering.
On Indiana roadways, people are dying at rates higher than pre-pandemic levels in traffic crashes, which is why the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute is awarding $6.5 million in traffic safety grants to more law enforcement agencies across the state.
What we're trying to do here with these funds and partnering with these agencies is we're really trying to save lives.
Numbers show the reckless driving situation is only getting worse and will continue if things don't change.
Indiana alone, as of kind of the beginning of October, we were about 683 traffic fatalities, which is an 8% increase over 2019.
Data shows if the pace continues and with the holiday travel season ahead, Indiana could surpass 900 traffic deaths by the end of the year, one of the highest in the last decade.
Nearly every single crash is preventable, right? So our goal is to increase our enforcement efforts. By doing that, it increases our visibility.
Indiana State Police received $1 million, one of the two highest in the state. ISP says it will target those enforcement efforts by utilizing data and looking at statistics to try and change them.
And target those aggressive drivers, target those areas that have been deemed as high crash areas.
Like other recipient agencies, troopers will have the opportunity to do this on their time off and hopefully help reduce the number of crashes overall.
Unfortunately, these things tend to come and go in spurts for some reason, and we've had an unfortunate run of it here lately here in Johnson County.
The Johnson County Sheriff's Office works with Franklin and Greenwood Police on traffic enforcement efforts. The three received a combined $82,500 to put towards their enforcement efforts in the hopes of saving at least one more life.
What people don't realize is that, it's not always their own life that they're putting in jeopardy, as you said, but unfortunately it's others.
Reporting for Fox 59 News, I'm Courtney Spinelli.
The Indiana Criminal Justice Institute says IMPD received the biggest traffic safety grant at $1.5 million. Keep in mind, the metro area that they deal with is one of the largest, if not the largest, in our region and in the state. So we will continue to follow this and let you know how the department will use some of that funding in the next few weeks. It will be determined in the future.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic here in the state. There we go. Over 2,800 new cases of COVID-19 reported today. You can see cases increasing over the past few weeks. Average daily cases have been on the rise, the state averaging over 2,500 new cases daily. The positivity rate also rising today, now at 9.1%, the highest since the beginning of October. Nearly 1,500 Hoosiers are in the hospital right now with COVID-19, the most in nearly a month. As of today, nearly 9,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been given to Hoosiers under the age of 12. Pfizer is now asking U.S. regulators to authorize the company's COVID-19 pill, which cuts the risk of severe infection by almost 90%. At the same time, Pfizer is also allowing other companies to manufacture its COVID-19 treatment pill. The drug maker is now allowing generic drug manufacturers in 95 countries to make their very own version of the pill. Pfizer says the countries involved in the agreement cover about 53% of the world's population. Meanwhile, Governor Eric Holcomb is signaling he wants to end the state's emergency declaration over COVID-19. He wants a few guarantees, though, from state lawmakers. The governor suggests his executive orders may wind down in the coming months. He plans to work with Republican leaders to preserve the program that matches funds for Medicaid expenses, as well as enhancing SNAP benefits in the state. He also wants to extend the ability to vaccinate children between the ages of 5 and 11. We've reached out to the Senate Majority Leader as well as the Speaker of the House for comment on those requests.
Attorney General Todd Rokita has filed another challenge against federal vaccine mandates. This one targets the rules for healthcare employees. Indiana's AG accuses the White House of, quote, ignoring the Constitution. This mandate requires the vaccine for anyone who works at a healthcare facility that receives money from Medicare or Medicaid. Earlier this year, AG Rokita sued over a mandate for federal contractors. And on November 5th, he sued over the OSHA workplace safety rule requiring either vaccinations or regular weekly COVID testing for most American employees. Happening at the Indiana State House, lawmakers are laying out their priorities for the new legislative session. Today, they gathered at the State House to kick off the new session. House Speaker Todd Huston says his biggest priorities next session include ensuring parents have say over what's being taught in schools and lowering the cost of health care. He also wants to look for more ways to give money back to Hoosier taxpayers, aside from the automatic $545 million tax cut that will be issued next year.
Inflation is a real problem here and across the country, and it most significantly impacts low and middle income individuals. We're not going to help those people with more government spending and programs.
Speaker Huston is also calling on lawmakers to work on energy policies to bring prices down. State House reporter Kristen Eskow is talking with other lawmakers right now about their top priorities. She'll have more from the State House that's coming up live at 5. In the meantime, we have much more upcoming for the session and the State House. It's on this week's edition of In Focus. It airs Sunday morning at 9:30 right here on Fox 59.
The pandemic forcing many people to find new jobs, including truck drivers. Now the industry is in dire need of new hires.
What's being done to fill this employment gap and the impact this shortage is expected to have on the holiday shipping season?
And we have another busy 36 hours of weather coming up. We're going to talk all about it in your forecast.
Here's what's coming up next at 4:30.
A Fox 59 investigation finds people are accused of murder in Indianapolis while out of jail and on release. Indianapolis is on pace for record-breaking violence. So what can be done about this part of the public safety crisis? We're digging into how judges make release decisions and what they believe is the missing piece in the criminal justice system. We're taking a live look from our station over the city's northwest side, as you see here. A sunny afternoon with temperatures around 60 degrees. Meteorologist Tucker Antico is here with our full forecast.
And yeah, it is a gorgeous day out there, especially compared to the colder weather we had this weekend. We're nearly 20 degrees above the mark that we were at 24 hours ago. And that 20-degree difference is going to continue to increase as we continue to warm over the next hour or so. And again, a very nice day wherever you're looking also, because we've had the sun out there too. So as we look down over Carmel, not so much ice in the ice rink right now, but we'll be talking about colder temperatures later this week. So make sure you take advantage of this warmth while it is here. Temperatures, well, a little unusual tonight actually. Check this out. This is more of a daytime kind of thing. You know, temperatures rising. At night, they cool off. We all know that. But tonight there's something different at play. It's a warm front. And what that's going to do is exactly as the name would suggest, it's going to warm us up even though it'll be dark outside. Now it also helps that we will have more clouds in the sky too. Those clouds help to keep heat closer to the surface, and you put the two together and you have one of these situations where if you're stepping outside at 8 o'clock, it's going to be colder than if you're stepping outside at midnight. We have a bit of a milky sky out here as we look out from our tower cam downtown. Those are those thin clouds making their way in before cloud cover continues to pick up later tonight. 54 is our current temperature. That is so far our high temperature today as well. And wind is out of the southeast. Now as we look across the state, you are seeing a lot of clear sky, or at least the clouds that are overhead, as we just mentioned, are thin. But if we look a bit further west, there is much more cloud cover, and that extends through a good chunk of the Midwest. By the way, that warm front now climbing up through southern Indiana. That's going to pass through again as we head into tonight. And temperatures, if you're south of the front, are, well, why don't I show you here, are significantly warmer. Tomorrow we're going to see those temperatures kind of even out in the morning, and we're going to be sitting around 60 as you wake up and start your day off. But because the clouds will be in the sky and because the front will have already passed through, we're not going to actually change too much during the daytime. In fact, these temperatures may only rise about 4 or 5 degrees, but that's not bad considering we will still get to about 60 to 65 across central Indiana. Now, as we head into the evening, I mentioned before our weather is more active. Well, here's where things pick up. Not only will there be rain moving in, but there will be a front, and we may be looking at temperatures something like this tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, where parts of the state may be in the mid-40s and other parts of the state could be in the mid-60s simultaneously. This is a cold front, of course, bringing in much colder weather, and by the time we wake up Thursday morning, you know, we could be more than 20 degrees colder than where we are when we wake up tomorrow morning. Now that front's going to come with winds too. When you have a big temperature difference, a temperature gradient we call it, you can get much stronger wind, and typically you need that strong wind to bring in such substantial change. So tomorrow expect a windier day. We're going to have those sustained winds between about 15 and 20 miles per hour. Gusts certainly could reach about 30. And then once that front moves through, the wind direction changes to northwesterly, bringing in that colder air mass. And luckily, as we head into Thursday, that wind will be dying down, but certainly it is going to be a colder day after that front moves through. Let's talk about timing of showers, and there may be some showers tonight and tomorrow morning, but I'm not so concerned about a soaking rain until we get into the afternoon. That's when things begin to consolidate, and you can see to the northwest, this is where the front will be. We have a more broad area where rain will be falling. That's going to impact us in the late afternoon and early evening, and you can see here this kind of narrow line where there's a little bit of a heavier intensity in the rain. That's where that cold front is, and then once it makes its way through, temperatures drop. So that's going to be, again, a more late afternoon through the evening kind of thing. And if you're in southeastern Indiana, that will be overnight too. Still some showers during the day, but much more later on. Good news is that Thursday, even though it will be a bit breezy and chilly, I mean, the sun will be out, so it'll at least make a bit of a difference, keeping maybe your car a bit warmer when it's parked outside. A temperature sitting in the 60s for the most part tomorrow, but again, we drop off quickly once that front comes through and the rain begins to fall. So you have about, we'll say about 24 hours from this moment to enjoy this mild weather before things take a quick turn. And you can see between Wednesday and Thursday, those high temperatures, about 20 degrees different. Of course, colder on Thursday. We stay in the 40s as we head into the weekend. And then we'll be talking about our next chance for some rain, maybe even some snow as we head into the back half of the weekend.
All right, Tucker, thank you. New information shows the holiday shopping season is off to a strong start. Retail sales rose 1.7% in October, a bit higher than economists were predicting. The sales include purchases at retail stores, online sellers, as well as restaurants. One of the major contributors to those supply chain issues is a shortage of truck drivers across the country. The American Trucking Association reports the driver shortage is currently at an all-time high.
Now, industry leaders are warning the lack of drivers could impact our holiday season. Fox 59's Melissa Crash explains the problem and how companies are working now to address it.
This year, there are fewer truck drivers hitting the road, but the demand is much higher.
Rate levels increased at a degree that I've never seen, certainly in my career.
At Estes Express Lines, drivers are picking up millions of pounds of freight each day. Referrals are helping hire some drivers, but dozens of positions remain open.
We're working hard to help bridge the gap the best that we can with that, but I think the holiday season exacerbates that.
Fraley and Schilling Trucking in Rushville is seeing a similar issue.
We're just now feeling the impacts of that a year later.
While there's an increased demand, the pandemic has forced early retirements and closed driving schools, which has created more of a challenge.
It's been probably the worst environment for drivers that we've seen in the history of the industry.
Mark Allen with the International Food Service Distributors Association says even if you plan to buy an experience instead of a product, the driver shortage impact will be noticed.
As the consumer goes to a restaurant or a movie theater or an arena and sees food prices going up, part of that is transportation too.
One way to get more drivers is to pay more. Allen says another solution, reach younger drivers.
Today, the average age of a person going into a driver training program is 35 years old.
Allen, along with 95 trucking organizations, sent a letter to President Biden last week asking for help in hopes of fixing the supply chain problems and getting more drivers behind the wheel.
Shop early and shop fast.
I'm Melissa Crash, Fox 59 News.
To keep up with demand, the American Trucking Association says the trucking industry will need to report nearly 1 million new drivers over the next decade. Well, jury deliberations happening now in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse.
What the group of 12 jurors must determine before a verdict can be reached. President Joe Biden traveling the country this week promoting the newly signed infrastructure bill, where the president's other spending projects could go up for a vote. Happening now, a jury in Wisconsin is deliberating the murder case against Kyle Rittenhouse.
The 18-year-old is charged with killing 2 men and wounding a third at a protest in Kenosha last year. An anonymous 12-person jury will now decide this case. Rittenhouse is currently charged with 5 counts, including intentional and reckless homicide. We told you yesterday the judge dismissed a count of illegal gun possession based on the defense's argument of a Wisconsin statute. Jurors must determine whether Rittenhouse provoked an attack or just reacted to one and defended himself. We'll, of course, let you know as soon as that verdict has been reached.
Happening now, President Joe Biden is in Woodstock, New Hampshire this afternoon, highlighting the newly signed bipartisan infrastructure bill. The president is visiting a bridge there that's been in need of repair since 2013. The president's infrastructure bill includes roughly $40 billion for bridge investments nationwide. This week, the president is showcasing some of the projects the money will go toward, while also pushing for another spending bill for special programs.
We have another bill that's coming along here that has money for education in it, and it has money for education to provide for money that's directly for community colleges and for apprentice programs and Pell Grants. I'm confident that the House is going to pass this bill, and when it passes, it'll go to the Senate. I think we'll get it passed within a week.
Tomorrow, the president heads to Detroit for a similar event. Today, House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer says he expects the House to vote on the president's Build Back Better Act between Thursday and Saturday this week.
A Fox 59 investigation finds more than 40% of accused killers in Indianapolis are on pretrial or post-conviction release.
Judges are balancing holding people accountable with respecting their constitutional rights.
We have a Fifth Amendment right to due process, and part of that right is a presumption of innocence.
We're digging into what goes into the decisions to release someone from jail and what judges say is a missing piece in the system.